Hi YouTube, this is my first video. I just wanted to discuss one thing that I found that atheists have and that theists reject, and it's kind of bizarre. First, I want to propose two terms, those terms being convince and conviction. And there's a huge difference between those two terms. Essentially, what happens when you're convinced of something is you evaluate the evidence, and based upon that evidence, you're convinced in the truth of that idea or that philosophy or that belief. If the person who espouses whatever it is they're trying to convince you of does a successful job of it, then you become convinced. You become that is associated in your mind as something to be believed as true. Conviction, on the other hand, is the exact opposite of what it means to be convinced. Now, being convinced is something that I find important because there's a lot of issues in which I can be persuaded or convinced upon, given the fact that most of my positions are tentative at best, because I believe that absolute knowledge is something that cannot be ascertained. But when we come back to conviction, conviction is something that allows people to have completely irrational beliefs or beliefs that have been proven to be false, and yet they hunker down and continue to believe such things when the reality of the situation is those beliefs are no longer valid. But they have conviction, and conviction is something I don't find any value in. I don't find any value in holding to an idea or clinging to a belief, especially in light of evidence to the contrary. And I think that right there illustrates the main schism between people that are atheists and people who accept some sort of theistic deity. Essentially, we rely on evidence, and our worldviews are tentative, given the fact that we cannot have perfect absolute knowledge of that, whereas theists rely on conviction, and conviction is something that I find no useful.